Right, hi guys. Look, so far we've done a little bit about cells, and we showed you what I would call a generic cell. So, cell, a way we would teach cells, but it's not exactly how cells appear in real life. Many cells have very different shapes and very different consistencies. Some cells have no nucleuses, some cells have extra things in which they actually have. So I thought I'd just take some time today to go through a little bit with you, because I do want you to do a little bit of extra research around here. So this is a task that we will probably be looking at if you are looking for some extension, I suppose, to the cells and what you're actually looking at. So if you actually look up behind me here, you'll see that you have some examples of a different type of cell. Now, this is a brain cell. It has a very different structure than you would see of the normal general cell that we were looking at before. It has a much kind of longer, more sheath-like structure. If you have a look, there's a main mass to it, which has the nucleus inside it and some things sticking off it that are called dendrites. And then if you look at the long sheath that's on the actual cell, it's a myelin sheath, just a particular term for a particular compound, and that's called an axion. Basically, the axions of one cell connect to the dendrites of another, because brain cells actually send electrical impulses. So for me to be waving my arm around or even moving my mouth to talk, my brain actually has to send an electronic signal from here to wherever it needs to go, to the muscles, to other nerve cells, which then, of course, make my muscles twitch and make me do different things. So brain cells are pretty, massively important. They also, too, send signals back to your brain. So if I was to hit myself, which I'm not going to, but if I was to hit myself, then receptors from there would send a signal to my brain saying, watch out, you've got hurt here. Act upon it, I suppose, is probably one of the ways that you could think about it. But they don't actually look like this diagram. So what I've actually done is I've got some slides here. I'm going to move my head out of the way for a little bit. There's actually 3 slides. And if you're sitting in here, if you're looking at them, you can see basically the general shape of that diagram. But one of the points is that we want to show you what slides actually look like. They don't look like the diagrams that we give you, and sometimes depending on which way you actually cut it, you get a very different shape or a very different thing. So that was brain cells, and my computer's going flat. Hang on. Oh, hang on. I need to close this first. We can edit the video. Hi guys. Sorry about that. Just a little bit of power problem. Fixed now though. So the next slide that you're looking at here is, basically this is a fat cell. Fat cells have 2 types, white and brown cells. And fat cells are basically used to store energy. So if you eat too much, like I sometimes have a tendency to do, then you'll actually find that what will happen is that your fat cells will grow bigger. Hence, you actually grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So they store more and more energy. So your energy input and your energy output, the more balanced they are, then the less need for your body to store fat. So if your body's storing more fat, then of course your fat cells are getting bigger. If we have a look at what they look like in real life, you can see here, just looking at this particular diagram, you can see that they're quite blobby, I suppose would be a good way in which to put them, and they're generally filled with fat. Basically, that's why they're called fat cells. Not too hard to pick underneath the microscope, but as you can see, very difficult to see something like a nucleus or a mitochondria or any kind of the organelles that we've discussed in class on a slide like this. Okay, so that was fat cells. So what have we got next, you may ask? Well, I'll just check my little document down here, and the next thing that's coming up is a diagram of a layer of your skin. So your skin is very, very big. It's called the epidermis. And basically, if you have a look at my arm here, the layer is a cross-section that we're seeing through here. So the picture that you see below is, you see where the hair follicles are placed within that layer. But the top part is basically dead. So there's probably about 30 or 40 layers of dead cells that are on the top of here. Now, the reason we have skin cells is to stop things like bacteria, sunlight, in the form of ultraviolet light, water and other things getting into our body and our bloodstream, and then going around our body and making us very, very sick. So when you get in the shower, you're basically washing away and you're stripping away those dead cells, and the layers underneath are growing up. If you've ever grazed yourself, you'll actually see that you get like a pinkish tint, and that's of course because that's skin that's still growing. Why we are the colour we are is because of a compound called melatonin. So when I used to live in the Northern Territory, I got a lot more sunlight and my skin brown. So when you tan, basically you're producing a thing called melatonin, which is designed to protect your skin from sunlight. So that's why, of course, that you get a tan. There you go. The next thing we're going to look at here is a red blood cell. So red blood cells are quite unique in their shape. They're made from a substance called hemoglobin, or part of them are made from hemoglobin, and that's made from iron. And if you know that iron turns a reddish colour when it rusts, that's why your blood's red. It's actually red because of the hemoglobin that's in it. The shape of the blood cell, which is a concave shape, as you can see up here, is basically designed to carry oxygen around your body. That's what red blood cells do. They carry oxygen to different parts of your body, and they are specifically designed too. Now, red blood cells are quite, I would suppose, ingenious in the way that they actually carry it away. The concave shape actually helps them, and the hemoglobin is the thing that actually attaches the oxygen to it to carry it around the body. But they're also quite unique because they don't have a nucleus. As we said, like, not all the organelles that we've taught you about in class are present in every particular cell. Your body is a collection of millions of different cells that do very much different things. And some of the ones we've talked today are probably not all the ones in which we could actually think about. If we have a look at them under a microscope, you can see that the shape quite distinctly in this particular slide, and you can see that very red colour. So red blood cells, very important. In your blood, there's also two other types of cells that I'm not going to talk about today, but like something that I would like you to consider to go away and research. White blood cells and platelets. So what do they particularly do? Now, I've mentioned like some very general things about these particular cells, and I want you to go away, of course, and find more information for me. Probably the best way to present this to me would be a PowerPoint, I reckon, and putting down what each individual cell goes for. Now, the last thing I'm going to look at today is one that's quite actually controversial. So it's called a stem cell. Now, stem cells are cells that haven't actually decided what they're going to be yet. They're the basic building blocks, I suppose, of other cells. So a stem cell can change into a fat cell or a brain cell or any type of cell or medium that the body actually needs. Scientifically, researching the stem cells is a little bit ethically challenging, I suppose you could say. And that's something that if you are doing this extension topic, I would really like you to look into what are the ethics behind it. So what am I actually being? I'm being a bit cryptic in this video, I understand that, but I don't want to give you too much information. So if we have a look at a stem cell underneath the microscope here, we can see that basically they tend to form these kind of clusters, I suppose, of different stem cells. And they're just waiting, basically, to be given instructions about what they need to turn into. Look, guys, I hope that helped you a little bit. Basically, the point of this video, I suppose, or your will from this particular lesson, was to get across to you that the cell that we showed you in your class is a general cell, a generology of basic cells. If you have a look at the video and the cells that we've looked at today, cells are very distinct and designed around particular functions. And so we just didn't want you to go down the track and have a look at that and say, well, that's not like the cell that I had in my biology class, because they are very wide and very varied. Okay, look, thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I'd like to thank Mr. Crabtree for the use of his green screen here in our little theatre, and I hope everything turns out well. Stay safe out there, and if you are going to do the extension, there'll be more instructions probably in the comment section of this video, or the description section of this video. Okay, guys, see you later. Bye.